Mr. Andrea Low.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has set out an ambitious vision for AI. He asks us to harness it as a strategic advantage. I agree with that framing. The question I want to put to the House today is, a strategic advantage for whom? The answer will determine whether Budget 2026 fulfills its promise that growth must translate into good jobs and rising incomes for Singaporeans. I want to address three things. How can we own the technology rather than just renting it? How can we protect the worker who is being asked to adapt in this new age? And how can we ensure that the gains are shared with the people who help create them? Let me start with the technology itself. Mr. Speaker, I want to push our AI ambitions further. Right now, the heavy fiscal levers in our AI strategy are largely focused towards adoption, identifying where AI can improve our existing industries and subsidizing our businesses to deploy it faster. That is necessary, but not sufficient. If our industrial strategy remains focused on fast adoption, we are agreeing to a permanent compounding transfer of value to foreign technology companies. Every API call we make, every subscription, every enterprise license is rent paid to a landlord in Silicon Valley or perhaps China. Singapore has never just accepted that kind of relationship with any industry. We move up the value chain, extracting value at the source. We do not just use semiconductors, we manufacture them. And our ambition for AI should be no different. We need to stake out our own defendable positions and capture the value that comes with them. The question is therefore where specifically we have a right to win. And I think that the answer starts with understanding Singapore's constraints. We cannot win a compute war. We lack the land, the power grid, and the capital to train trillion-parameter frontier models. But Singapore has been here before. When we faced constraints in other industries, we did not try to outspend our larger competitors. Instead, we identified niches where our specific combination of capabilities gave us an advantage, and we built from there. We have already done this in AI. Singapore has produced Sea Lion and Mara Lion, large language models built on open weights foundations, fine-tuned for Southeast Asian language context and our cultural context. We identified a gap in our region, and we filled it. That was and remains the right instinct. We must now look further afield with global ambitions. I want to make the case for another niche, one with global export potential, Edge AI, and the efficiency research that underpins it. The rest of the world is running into the same energy wall that we face when deploying AI. Data centers are straining electrical grids everywhere. The United States is planning new nuclear power plants specifically to power AI data centers. My colleague Dennis Tan earlier highlighted in this House the outsized environmental impact of an indiscriminate rush to embrace large-scale models for every minor task, a dilemma that every nation is grappling with. This global problem, in other words, is the same problem our constraints have been forcing us to think about. How do you make AI run on less? This is the field of model distillation and quantization, compressing large AI models so that they can run locally with minimal degradation in performance without an internet connection to the cloud on a fraction of the energy. The result is what practitioners call Edge AI, intelligence that runs on the device itself rather than routing data to a distant server. The Prime Minister had announced 4 national AI missions in this budget. I want to look at 2 of them through the lens of Edge AI. In advanced manufacturing, the robots on a factory floor cannot depend on a cloud connection. A production line that hesitates because of a network latency or halts because of an outage is a competitive liability. The AI running that factory needs to operate locally and be resilient to disruption. In connectivity, the autonomous systems that manage our containers at our ports make thousands of routing decisions every second. Our ports handle a large proportion of the world's transshipment volume. These decisions cannot wait for a round trip to a data center. The export potential follows directly. As the rest of the world scrambles to solve their energy and latency constraints, the software that makes AI run efficiently on local hardware will command a significant premium. We're already being pushed to solve this problem. We should be solving it deliberately and with an eye on selling the solution. I'm not a deep technical expert, and I'm not offering a comprehensive blueprint today. What I am suggesting is a way to think about where Singapore has a right to win, and Edge AI is one possible answer to that question, among many others. The same logic points towards explainable AI, building tools that make the reasoning that AI models make transparent enough for regulated industries to deploy. Finance and healthcare, the two other sectors that are the focus of our AI missions, are just these industries that operate under obligations to explain automated decisions. Singapore's regulatory institutions and our reputation for the rule of law may give us a genuine advantage in this space as well. These are just ideas, and there will be other niches that neither side of the House has yet identified. So what do I ask for? The government has already committed $37 billion under the Research, Innovation and Enterprise 2030 plan, with AI explicitly within the scope. I ask that within that envelope, Edge AI efficiency research, model distillation, quantization, and on-device deployment be named as an explicit priority, with success measured by commercial export potential and not just domestic adoption. My more specific ask concerns the national AI missions. The 4 missions are already funded. I ask that each mission consider edge deployment capability as a key design criterion, whether an efficient, low-latency, sovereign edge model is appropriate for the use case. And more broadly, I ask that the government establish a formal process for identifying Singapore's AI export niches, applying the same constraint-aware logic that produced Sea Lion and Mara Lion across our strategic industries, not just edge or explainable AI. A systemic search for where Singapore has a right to win and a commitment to back those niches with capital. The goal is to ensure that in years to come, Singapore is a genuine owner of commercial AI capability that we can export to the world, not just a well-compensated tenant, but a landlord of our own. But owning the technology is only the first part of the answer. The second is protecting the people being asked to adapt to it, including those that the market has already started to leave behind. Mr. Speaker, the aggregate economic data looks encouraging. Broad-based wage growth and lower income inequality. But averages can be dangerous, and they can mask a specific problem that I think deserves more attention. Research published in October last year by Stanford University and ADP found that since late 2022, which was when ChatGPT broke cover, entry-level hiring in AI-exposed sectors in the US has fallen by 16%. For software developers, aged 22 to 25 specifically, the headcount has fallen by a greater 20%. We do not have such granular data for Singapore, but that alone is part of the problem. This is what I call the broken bottom rung of the ladder. Now, I want to be clear that what is at stake here, not just in economic terms, but in human terms as well. The first job is not just income. It is a place where you discover what you're capable of, where someone more senior takes a chance on you, teaches you something you could not have learned any other way, and passes on a standard of craft or judgment that you will carry for the rest of your career. It is where professional identity is formed. If that rung is gone, not because graduates are less capable, but simply because it is now cheaper to automate the tasks that used to justify hiring them, we do not have an unemployment problem. We have a rupture in how knowledge and expertise pass from one generation to the next. The experienced professionals of 2046 are the junior hires of today. If we do not hire them today, we will not have any in 20 years. After my parliamentary colleague Eileen and I put out a call for feedback some months ago, we heard from many young Singaporeans who are living this. Graduates who applied for over 100 roles, who took unpaid internships hoping it would lead somewhere, who are talented, willing, and being told by the market there is simply no place for them yet. They are simply asking for a chance to start. The broken rung is the most visible symptom, but the disruption does not stop at entry-level workers. Mid-career workers face a parallel challenge. Skills that took years to build being absorbed by AI faster than retraining programs can respond. So what do I ask for? Data first. We cannot manage what we do not measure. I call on MOM to publish granular employment data for new graduates broken down by sector, role type, and AI exposure levels. If the broken rung is happening here, we need to see it in our numbers before we can respond to it. The government's 400% Enterprise Innovation Scheme tax deduction for AI expenditure is a powerful lever as well. While the details are being firmed up, I asked that the government require that firms claiming the EIS deduction above a meaningful threshold demonstrate a credible plan for maintaining graduate and entry-level roles, not by preserving roles that AI has genuinely made redundant, but by investing in reimagining what junior work looks like in an AI-augmented firm. Public money for AI adoption should come with a commitment to developing the workers who will work alongside it. The government's announcement of 6 months of free premium AI tool access for workers taking selected courses is also a welcome step. But 6 months is a trial period. Mastery takes longer. AI is not a course you complete, it is daily practice, much like using a spreadsheet program is. A worker who builds that habit over 6 months and then has the access removed is being set up to fall again. The Workers' Party has called for Skills Future credits to cover AI tool subscriptions on an ongoing basis. I renew that call today for young workers starting out and for those mid-career who need to stay current, as well as for our senior workers looking to embrace new technology. The Skills Future Level Up program currently targets workers aged 40 and above, but the disruption is hitting many earlier. Singaporeans in their mid to late 30s, the millennial cohort, where careers were built on skills that AI is now absorbing, are facing displacement before they even qualify for mid-career support. Lowering the qualifying age to 35 is a simple, concrete, and targeted step that addresses where the disruption is actually occurring. That brings me to the third and final question. AI is not just changing how we work, it is changing what we owe each other. The assumptions baked into our social contract about risk, about reward, about the relationship between capital and labor were written for a different economy. Budget 2026 is an opportunity for us to update this. So what do I ask for? The Workers' Party has called for redundancy insurance across multiple parliaments. I argued for it myself in my maiden speech, so I will not repeat the full argument today, but I want to offer a different frame for it. Critics have called it a welfare crutch. I want to make the opposite case. Redundancy insurance is the engine of the economic agility that this budget demands. A worker with 6 months of financial breathing room can say yes to retraining. They can take the risk of moving sectors. They can be the bold, adaptable Singaporean that the government is asking them to be. Without that buffer, the rational response to uncertainty is not agility, it is paralysis or grabbing the first job that comes along, plunging workers into a cycle of underemployment. And paralysis is exactly what we cannot afford in an economy that's undergoing structural transformation. The government is rightly optimistic about AI's potential, but responsible governance requires managing all our outcomes, including the downside. Redundancy insurance is a suitable hedge, and I urge the government to act on it. The EIS deduction condition I proposed earlier on maintaining graduate and entry-level pipelines as a condition for tax deductions addresses new workers entering the workforce. But there is a parallel question about existing workers. What happens to the person already in the job when AI arrives? Right now, the tax system is largely neutral on the question. A firm can deploy AI to augment its workforce or to replace it. And incentives are often available either way. Without a nudge, the default logic of capital is to substitute labor. Labor is expensive. Shareholders benefit when headcount falls. AI makes substitution easier than it has ever been. I propose a targeted retraining tax credit, available only to firms that can demonstrate that they have reskilled a specific worker into an AI-augmented role, rather than retrenching them. Retention, done right, costs less than redundancy. Let us make the fiscal system reflect that. Which brings me finally to the distribution question. Global evidence consistently shows that productivity gains from AI do not automatically translate into wage growth. The government is investing taxpayer resources and regulatory sandboxes in 4 national AI missions. advanced manufacturing, connectivity, finance, and healthcare. These are the right priorities, but they come with a public obligation. I propose that an annual AI Gains Audit scoped specifically to these 4 sectors be implemented. Not red tape for every business, a targeted accountability mechanism for sectors receiving extraordinary levels of public support. To answer one straightforward question, are the productivity gains from state-backed AI missions flowing into the wages of our workers, or are they flowing into shareholder returns? Mr. Speaker, this is a budget with genuine ambition, and the Workers' Party supports much of its direction. But ambition must come with accountability. The strategic advantage of AI must be felt in the wages of our workers, not just in the earnings reports of the companies deploying the technology. Own the technology, not just rent it. Protect the worker that is being asked to adapt to it, and ensure that the gains of AI accrue to workers and not capital owners. These are not obstacles to Singapore's AI ambitions. They are the conditions that make these ambitions worth pursuing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.